So, why service dogs? Service dogs have the ability to improve quality of life of patients suffering from a variety of medical conditions. Either it's physical, neurological, psychiatric. Unfortunately, the fundamental support provided by service dogs to patients is not well known to the population. Raising awareness to this cause is an urgent matter. This area of social concern is specifically important to us. As a team composed of vet tech students, we share a love of animals and understand their potential to enrich people's lives. Service dogs can help patients with PTSD, autism, depression, anxiety, palsy, mobility limitations, and visual impairment, among others. According to a study by the Psychiatric Service Dog Society, 82% of PTSD sufferers that owned the service dog reported reduced symptoms, and 42% reduced their medication. Training and placing service dogs can be costly and time-consuming process. According to the organization Four Paws for Ability, the training and placement of a service dog for a child with disabilities could start at around $22,000 and could take anywhere from 6 months to a year to train the animal. The Seeing Eye organization, which has the largest program for training and placing guide dogs, puts out around 1,800 dogs in a year. That represents an investment of at least $36,600,000 a year. The use of appropriate messaging to specific audience groups is essential to give legitimacy to the cause and build foundations for successful communication efforts. A legitimate, credible cause that provides the community with real, evidence-based benefits is more likely to receive funding. A recognized, well-known cause is also more likely to become involved in partnerships with private and public sectors. Cause-related marketing is a good example. Professionals with the healthcare and community services sectors are attached to the cause that benefits from the further research and development these professionals can.
For our Wiki decision making, our Wiki was used as a repository. Our Wiki was used as a way to organize and combine all the information gathered through our research. The information was readily available at all times and to all group members, and the content was laid out in the Wiki so that it could be easily accessed along with the citations. For the perusal and approval of contents, it became easy since all group members could keep track of each other's work and then provide constructive feedback if necessary. The Wiki also worked as a brainstorming spot where all group members could give ideas of what to do and how they might like to contribute to the project. For our Wiki decision making, our choice of content was based on following criteria: on credibility, so reliable information was given straight from the sources that we found that were involved with our area of social concern. We also based it on relevance, so that the content was chosen to best represent those involved with service dogs. That could be the patients, the charities, and the professionals that train or work with the dogs. And for objectivity, so the content should provide unbiased, evidence-based information to support recommendations and education of the readers. For our Wiki decision making, specifically for the design and usability of the Wiki was designed in a way to make navigation flow intuitive for all readers, so it was easier for all group members to use it readily. The section titles should be self-explaining so that users can easily find the desired information. The internal and external links were tested multiple times to assure that the navigation flow would not be interrupted by any broken links. And tables, charts, and other visual elements were added and developed, taking the Wiki platform and its limitations into consideration so that the quality of the presentation as a whole would not be compromised.
As we all know, this project's main focus was group work. Therefore, it was very important that all group members worked together and that tasks were distributed evenly and in a way that everyone understood. Two platforms were extremely important to help us accomplish that. The first one, Facebook Messenger, was our main way to communicate with each other. This tool allowed us to have real-time group conversations, share documents, and keep track of all that's been agreed between group members, upcoming due dates, distribution of tasks, and other discussed topics. Blackboard, through the Wiki, also played an important role in the development of this project. The Team Wiki is a real collaboration tool where we were able to organize our research, share knowledge, and have visibility on what other group members were working on.
For part 1 of our group assignment, which was the collaboration activity, it was probably the easiest section to complete. Our collaboration activity included answering various questions, lying out when the different sections were due, and coming up with a group contract which included our goals, deciding on responsibilities and expectations of each team member, and finally coming up with a group name based on the area of social concern that all group members decided upon. It was very easy to divide up this section. Each person was given a few questions to answer, and the team as a whole came up with the goals we wanted to accomplish and our expectations of one another. After we had all answered a few questions each, we had to come up with what area of social concern we would be focusing on. Again, this came pretty easy to us. Being a group of 4 vet tech students and all having a passion for animals, we knew we wanted to focus on a topic that had something to do with animals, so we therefore came up with focusing on service dogs and the impact that they have on people's lives. After coming up with our area of social concern, the name Team Service Dog came to us. We wanted a topic that would right away give people an idea of what we would be discussing and not leave any confusion as to what our project was about.
Part 2 of the group assignment, the progress report, also came with ease as it was just talking about the progress of our group and of our project. This section took the least amount of communication between group members. In the background section, we discussed the reasons behind doing this assignment. We then had to discuss the work that had been completed thus far. At the time the progress report was completed, we had completed our group contract as well as the collaboration activity. We had also been discussing back and forth how to go about doing the rest of the project, where information that was gathered would be posted, and who was collecting what information. The work to be completed had been discussed in our ongoing Facebook messages, so it was easy to put into our report. When the report was being done, we had come up with a deadline of December 6th for all information to be gathered by, leaving us a week to put our Team Wiki together. All group members had done their research and posted to Wiki by this date. We also discussed in this section the due dates of the final 2 sections of our project. The anticipated problems of the progress report was the most difficult section because it is hard to assume what sort of problems will arise, if any. Being realists, though, we did assume that at least one problem would occur. We decided that the anticipated problems could come from the different schedules we all have, as well as from the fact that this project is not being done face-to-face. Instead, is being done through computer screens where things that are said can be taken differently than the way that they were intended. One group member put everything together into the report format and then sent it to all group members before emailing the final copy. After all group members agreed on what was written, the progress report was saved as a PDF file and emailed in. The Team Wiki section definitely took the most amount of time. In this section, we decided to divvy up the different sections. One group member did a rough draft for the introduction, background, and history of our area of social concern. Another did the first part of the discussion, another the second part of the discussion, and finally, the final group member worked in the third section of the discussion. We all then put in our 2 cents about the conclusion and our recommendations. Once all rough drafts of our divvied up parts were done, they were posted to Blackboard as drafts, as well as sent to each other in our Facebook message. Once in Blackboard, we were able to go over each other's sections and make any recommendations we felt necessary. Some parts were left as is, others required minor editing, while others had more information added to them. Once all group members were happy with how each one group member who has experience in advertising put our wiki together in a way that looked professional and presentable. When said group member was finished, they posted the wiki and notified the other group members. We then took this time to go over the wiki and do a final edit and ensure that all members were on board with what was being handed in. Our final part, the home stretch, the narrated PowerPoint, went very smoothly. We relied on our group member who has experience in advertising to put all of our information together in a way that was user-friendly to anyone who views the PowerPoint. The other 3 group members wrote up rough drafts that would be discussed in the final PowerPoint. This section included drafts for our area of social concern, our wiki decision making, and our team's functionality. Once rough drafts were written up for each section, they were sent to the other group members for editing purposes and to then be put into our PowerPoint. After the PowerPoint was formatted, we divvied up who was talking about which section in a way that ensured all group members' voices were heard and contributed evenly. Once all group members were happy with how the PowerPoint looked and sounded, it was handed in and we could officially say that we were done. Over the course of this project, there was only difficulty between two group members who seemed to butt heads. Nonetheless, the problems between these group members did not affect the final project. They were able to work their problems out and look at the bigger picture, completing the project. Other than that, the group worked very well together as a whole. For the most part, everyone got along, and work at the end of the day was divvied up evenly. We were able to produce a project that everyone is happy of and proud to hand in. Although this project was developed completely online without any meetings in person, our team went through the phases of group development and got done what we believe to be an awesome project.
During week 7, we learned about teamwork dynamics and the phases of team development. Now that the project has been completed, we can relate the portions of this assignment with the phases explained during lecture. Part 1, the collaboration activity, coincides with the forming phase of team development. At this point, group members were getting to know each other and learning how to approach the tasks and establish relationships. Once part 1 was finished, our team had reached the norming stage of group development, where roles and responsibilities are determined. Part 2, the progress report, started during the norming stage and went into the storming stage. During this time, group members were still working on distributing tasks and first conflicts appeared. The Team Wiki began during the storming stage, and maybe due to the fact that this is the most intense portion of the project, group members could only see tension subside when the wiki was almost done. As mentioned before, part 4, the narrated PowerPoint, went very smoothly. Communication flowed and there was a lot of cooperation between group members. This positive attitude and the desire to get things done helped the team develop a high quality presentation. All group members were happy with the final results and recognized that production exceeded expectations.